Hello and welcome to NewsClick. Today we have with us P. Sainath, which I think all of our viewers would know. He has been covering Indian politics, the firm farmers, starvation deaths in Maharashtra, for which he wrote a book. And I don't think he needs any introduction to NewsClick audience. Sainath, I'm going to come straight to you on what do you think now is in store for the country. Elections have taken place. Did you really expect this election result?
Uh, I very much did. I expected it to fall below 240, as you know from our conversations. Uh, but I think the Election Commission of India gifted some 20-25 seats, maybe more, to the BJP, in especially places like which had close finishes, like in a Mumbai constituency. Kirtikar of the Shiv Sena Thackeray won, and then the ECI, the returning officer, declared some 111 postal ballots invalid, and he lost by 48 votes. A lot of this has happened in different parts of the country. So I was actually expecting, and you can see if they didn't have those two allies made at the last minute, I mean, one of them at the last minute, TDP, if you remove those 32 seats, I mean, then you're, about 28 seats. You're looking at a disaster. So, yes, I expected them to do worse. And yeah.
Well, we're not going to deal with the exit polls, what it meant, why it happened. We'll leave that aside because, after all, people have been talking about it. One of the persons cried on camera. I don't know what the crying meant. But taking all of that out, if we're not surprised by the results, do you think it means a change in the way this country is now going to run?
I think it's going to be very interesting because in logically, rationally speaking, commonsensically speaking, it has to mean a lot of change. But when the party in power, nobody's told them yet. Yeah. So, I mean, the Prime Minister returns from the Kanyakumari rock before his party meeting, before his party leadership has met, before the allies have signed on board, he declared himself Prime Minister. That's a very interesting thing. I cannot remember any other instance of this happening. And the thing is, everyone is now expecting the excitement to be in the cabinet formation process. It might well be that, but I actually expect something to unfold differently. I think it's after the cabinet appointments are made that it's Kela Hobe. Okay, because in the immediate thing, the big allies will just say left to the Prime Minister while bargaining behind the scenes. The thing is that I don't believe that either Mr. Modi or Mr. Shah, and you never know which one is in charge, have any sense of give and take in a coalition, in dealing, because their occupation has primarily been taking, at every level, in every sense. So I believe that the first problems will come in the formation while a lot of, including some of the allies, are going to gun for Mr. Amit Shah by demanding the home portfolio. Now, I cannot see something has really changed if Mr. Modi agrees to it. Yeah, but I don't see it yet. I don't see that he will appoint him home minister. That seems to me fairly certain. Then, okay, which means that you will have to give some other extra juicy portfolios to your allies. While there is also within the BJP people who are, let's say, not enamored of Mr. Shah. Yogi Adityanath, for one, who's been telling everybody that every single candidate in Uttar Pradesh was handpicked by Mr. Shah and that it is their defeat, not mine. So there is Nitin Gadkari here. There is Shivraj Chauhan in Madhya Pradesh, Raman Singh in Chhattisgarh, Vasundhara Raje in Rajasthan, and to my mind, the most serious of them all, Rajnath Singh, who was cut to size and humiliated in the days of the internal putsch where you kicked a lot of people upstairs into a Margdarshak Mandal that has never once met. The Arun Shoris and Yashwant Sinhas and the Murli Manohar Joshis and all of them. So once they are going to try and announce a cabinet and make it look like everybody was on board all along. That's why I'm thinking that an additional stage of the problem, which might be a much bigger stage, will come after the appointment of the ministerial council are made.
So, Sainath, what you are saying is there are two sets of problems. One is with the allies themselves, what they would ask, what they would get, and what happens as a part of that tussle. It's also interesting, Chandrababu Naidu has asked for the speaker post. Now, speaker post is generally not very important, but looking at what happened in Maharashtra and the role the speaker there played in breaking two major parties in Maharashtra, I think the political parties are now beginning to realize, yes, speaker is not important, except when it comes to breaking parties. Then speaker becomes a very important figure. So given that as well, you are really looking at two sets of dynamics. Coalition politics dynamics, which you have said is something that Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah are not familiar with. They have never practiced it. And the second is the inner party dynamics, which for quite some time hasn't had a play. We all knew there were differences within the cabinet. We knew that senior leaders were feeling isolated, feeling the pressure of what was happening, but yet did not speak, were silent. Now, will they speak? And will they assert themselves? And of course, you have also in the BJP, the RSS, who has also appears to have been marginalized. And therefore, even they would have certain views about what's happening. So let's come to first the oppositional dynamics and the parties who are allies now, that dynamics, Chandrababu Naidu and what we have seen in Bihar, Lalu's party not doing as well as we thought, and Nitish being able to manage a number of seats. So how do you think these two major allies, because with them only he has a majority, how will they play?
I think the first thing is that, he's going to get a crick looking over his shoulder. He has signed on with two of the most deceitful allies possible to choose. Okay? The record of the Nitish record, a man who's called Paltaram in Bihar and who's generally sensed things which way something might go, this time made a very big, huge mistake. I actually think the situation in Bihar is far more optimistic than people might believe. Number one, Bihar of the 2020s reminds me of Tamil Nadu of the 80s, 90s, which is two major formations, one mid-sized formation, or three major formations, if you will. Any two go together, they sweep. Okay, so when Nitish goes with that used to happen with Congress going with DMK or Congress going with ADMK. Congress was the smallest of the lot, but it determined who would win. In Nitish's case, by the way, RJD has increased its share. It's done a lot better. Nitish has done a lot better in seats, not necessarily in votes. My thing is that you should take seriously the fact that Nitish, when he's gone with the BJP, they've won. When he's gone with RJD, they've won. He went with the BJP, but there was no sweep. Some of the constituencies, the margin is very narrow. And despite that formidable Tamil Nadu old formula situation, they didn't sweep. They should have taken 39 seats, 36 seats. They did. I also believe that this election has seen the emergence of Tejasvi as a smart politician. And I noticed the mischief in the campaign right through. At everywhere, Tejasvi and Lalu saying, Nitish Chacha, भाजपा ने उसको किडनैप कर दिया, हाईजैक कर दिया, जून 4 तारीख को एक बड़ा अनाउंसमेंट करेगा. That you won't believe how much disquiet it has caused in the Bihar BJP, which actually believes it. Tejasvi may not, but the Bihar BJP believes it. Their experience leads them to believe it. And everyone's experience leads us to not know when it will happen and if it will happen. That's one set of things. Maharashtra and the speaker, and I think that the speaker can be very important if you look at the Rajya Sabha and the smashing through of the farm laws.
Yes.
A speaker, full disclosure and confession, an old friend of mine who I held in great respect, Harivansh. Yeah. He threw out 8 people for disrupting, even after he threw out 8, and like MPs like KK Ragesh, they were not in the well. They were not in the well. He was sitting there raising the point that let's have a division of vote on each of the amendments. Now, by the way, Ragesh was going entirely according to the rules of Rajya Sabha. Rule number 252 of the Rajya Sabha. Firstly, by the way, there is no such thing as voice vote in the Constitution. In the rules of Rajya Sabha, it says voice vote, but even if one MP, one member demands a division of vote, you got to give it. This rule is very clear on it. Yeah. He threw out 8 people, and Ragesh was one of those demanding that, raising the point well within the protocols and rules. And even after that, they didn't trust their own MPs. They went for a voice vote, not for a division of vote. They didn't trust. Okay. So the speaker can be amazingly important in such situations. Maharashtra, coming to the allies thing, I think I told you that on May 20th, after the last voting was over in Maharashtra, I knew that Ajit Pawar's side had taken a huge beating. We knew it because Mr. Ajit Pawar, from the day voting was over in the Western Maharashtra constituencies, May 13th, I received a great birthday present. May 13th, Ajit Pawar went off radar. He would not talk to anybody. Here's a guy who suffers from extreme garrulity when he sees any media person in the distance. Okay. He wouldn't talk, and he did not participate in any rallies. He's a state level leader aspiring for chief ministership. He was going to, he should have been campaigning in all the constituencies before the 23rd voting, before the 25th voting. He did not do that. For 15 days, he's underground. Then he surfaces. They hold a meeting, he and Bhujbal of NCP and address the media, where Bhujbal says, whatever has happened in the past has happened. Past is the Lok Sabha elections. And see, Prabir, in Maharashtra, different from every other state in this way, everybody is positioning themselves for the assembly election.
Okay.
This is, in the parliament, you're figuring out, see, it's very simple. BMC, it is much more lucrative to be a corporator of the BMC or a member of the Legislative Assembly, probably in that order, but no, not, but then be an Raj Sabha or Lok Sabha MP in Parliament. There you have your 2 crores or whatever of MP lards, which sadly is audited by the CAG. Okay. The BMC's budget is bigger than several northeastern states. And it has, unlike Raj Sabha budget, it has a parallel budget, which is larger than the official budget in contracts, kickbacks, break. That's why the BJP did not hold the BMC elections. It's 2.5 years. They've been with it because they knew, they feared that the Uddhav Shiv Sena will win. And it's now many things are going to happen in the. So why did Ajit Pawar sulk? Apart from the fact, and Shinde also had his problems. Both of them seriously believe, Ajit Pawar is not making a secret of it, that Fadnavis and the BJP sabotaged both of them in the parliamentary election to quell their claims for chief ministership in the assembly election. That's why Fadnavis is now making the show of offering his resignation, accepting responsibility, etc., etc. And the truth is that when I went past the Western Maharashtra constituencies, it did seem that the BJP cadres were not just not pulling their weight, they were actively sabotaging. One example of that, one of the stronghold of the BJP's stronghold in the Baramati constituency is Kadakwasla, the home of the National Defense Academy. A lot of this thing with it, and that had the lowest voting. That's where the BJP is strongest. Okay? It had the lowest voting. So Ajit Pawar believes that this is the damage done deliberately, and nothing's going to change his mind on that. He's been humiliated. The second, with Shinde, he did somewhat better, but still, I mean, he won. He had, in the sense that he had a higher strike rate than the BJP. But Shinde, look, Prabir, there actually was some problem over the symbol recognition. So though he ran a close race to Uddhav, I'm saying before the assembly, there will be some kind of a stampede of voters, if not leaders, from the Shinde, his group, which I call Shinde Baba or Chalis Chor, and Ajit Pawar's group, which is Ajit Dada or Chalis Chor. There is going to be some ground level shifts and movement, unless they can do miracles to stop it. So that is going to happen before the assembly election. And there is a huge amount of money going to be spent to stop that from happening. The polarization was such. There were unique features in the election, never before seen in election history in this state. Muslims and Marathis in Mumbai, where I voted the same way for the first time ever. The last time everybody had been in the same boat was at the time of the Samyukta Maharashtra movement, where the enemy, by the way, was Gujarati. The perceived enemy was Gujaratis, because Maharashtra wanted to break away from the Bombay presidency of Mr.
And
Morarji.
Morarji Desai was the chief minister at that time.
That's right. So after that, 60 or 7 years later, you are having the Muslims of Mumbai and the Marathi Manus voting in large numbers in the same direction. The upper one-third of the Marathi Manus, I think they voted for Mr. Modi. They seem to have a Hindutvavadi or Hindu nationalist perspective. They see themselves as looking at a country as a whole, not just as Mumbai, etc. So that day I knew that something spectacular is happening here. It should have been 5 out of 6 seats, not 4. 48 votes went because of those 111 postal ballots being declared invalid. The third thing in Maharashtra is going to be that, you see, the BJP took out a gun and took aim and shot itself in the first foot and then the second one. The BJP became the alternative in Maharashtra by building a gigantic anti-Maratha caste alliance. Yeah. Or say 4 OBCs. Mr. Shinde comes from a poor OBC caste. Rich OBCs, which they always had. Brahmins, Baniyas, and a few other caste groups. Now, these groups are many, they are wide, they're big. With that, they built what I would call a formidable coalition. Hard to beat. And suddenly, if you're one of that coalition, social coalition, you wake up one morning and you see that 6 grand Marathas have been given the most important portfolios, with Ajit Pawar and 9 others coming in, but 6 of them were Marathas who got the portfolios. That led to fury in the small OBC groups. One-man parties like Bachchu Kadabs in Vidarbha, things like that. So it was a betrayal. It was an anti-Maratha caste alliance. On the other hand, the Maratha agitation, reservation agitation, saw to it that the BJP could not win 1 seat in Marathwada. So there was serious politics at play in those blunders of pulling off this thing and breaking a party, and then breaking those parties went down very badly with the public. See, I think the public, there are times when they approve of your defecting. They approve of that, but that's, I believe, 2 out of 10 times. 8 out of 10 times, the public do not like it. Even in the home state of Ayaram, Gayaram, it's not admired, it's not respected. And the sight that you broke an 83-year-old patriarch's party in his backyard, that you broke the Thackeray family's legacy in Mumbai, that went down badly. It went down badly. And I think that Uddhav has, by the luck of the numbers, proved who is the real Shiv Sena. They were able to win 1 seat. One of the seats they won despite Raj Thackeray's MNS.
Okay.
Massively. And in the Dadar area, Heartland area, the MNS, but even in the run-up in the elections, MNS leaders began to leave Raj Thackeray. So I think that this process is going to continue over there. So this much for the oppositional politics. I have to say that the Maharashtra opposition, which I've had a long memory of stupid behavior, of idiocy, they fought valiantly. And no other state, I mean, here, Bengal, Bihar, every day, some political leader, not just being raided, arrested, some political leaders who had been at cabinet level spent 2 years without bail in jail. They did not crack. I think they sensed that which way the public was thinking, and whatever it is, they did not crack. And it's the only state where I believe that leaders who defected to Shiv Sena Shinde say at press conferences, I'm leaving because Uddhav Thackeray did nothing when the ED raided me and when the ED threatened me. He's almost asking for a doorway to be opened to return. The guy actually says this at a press conference. Yeah. So Maharashtra's politics are moving. This is how the oppositional politics are moving. And there are going to be the one-man, two-man, three-man parties in the NDA. One member, two member. They will also do that. Now, the BJP's internal politics. I think Mr. Gadkari believes that more than once, the Shah Modi combined has tried to ensure his defeat. Now, Mr. Gadkari is extremely popular with the RSS Nagpur. I believe he is their major benefactor. Okay. And I mean, even looking at their complex, what it was 30 years ago, what it was after Mr. Gadkari serves a stint in the first Shiv Sena BJP government. After that, you know that he was their major benefactor. I think that the Gadkaris, the Shivraj Chauhans, the Vasundharas, the Yogi Adityanaths, the Raman Singhs, I think they're in contact. I get the feeling that they may not have recovered their mojo, so to speak, but they're going to be 20% more muscular and aggressive. Yeah. Everything changes. See, the thing is that had he got a single party majority, there's no space for these guys. He didn't. And he's going to have allies leveraging, using a crowbar to do the leveraging wherever they get a chance. And it's also a signal for these people to say, look, actually, Prabir, what I see as the biggest problem that the BJP has goes beyond these two. You've spent unbelievable effort, time, and money in constructing the greatest and most expensive personality cult on the face of the earth. Now, when you put all your eggs in that basket and find that the public has sat on the basket, what do? Some of that you can't reconstruct. You might be able to do it in new areas like Odisha, failed in Bengal. You might be able to do it in a couple of places where the BJP has not ruled. Where are you going to? Who are you going to? Are you going to pick another? Now, this is the dilemma that ensures Modi stays there for a while. Who will you replace him with? So you bring a Rajnath Singh or a Gadkari. Are you going to spend 1 lakh crores on the construction of a personality cult around one of them? Personality cults come with this price. When that main personality you've invested everything in is broken, it's going to be very, very difficult. And a lot more people are going to be challenging openly. You can see the videos on social media. You can see people speaking utterly disrespectfully of any one of these guys. Adityanath's activists telling Mr. Shah, okay, enough. You've given all your contracts in Varanasi city to a bunch of Gujaratis. Please take them and go back to Gujarat. This was unthinkable before the election. Those are BJP activists. So I think the genie is out of the bottle. I would yet another thing. I don't so much count on the discovery of a conscience in the media. I don't think that's good. I find it extremely hypocritical when the Indian Express writes a third edit, telling the exit pollsters to get their act together. The exit pollsters don't matter. They don't matter. You gave them a platform. The big media gave them the platform where they could do this crap. Yeah. What about you getting your act together? I think that they are still, the word is not timid, they're scared. They're scared. They think, what if this guy stays on and we are going to get shafted? My point is that you're all going to get shafted anyway.
No, go ahead.
I'm just saying, look at somebody has done a beautiful compilation of shots from interviews, videos of interviews of Mr. Modi, where he is scolding the media and having the journalists sit there and approvingly nod their heads. The greatest one was the one where he declared himself as, non-biological. Maybe the more appropriate word was psychological or whatever else. But you could see the two journalists there. Their faces betrayed everything. They were stunned, they were shocked, and they had swallowed their tongues. They were looking at him just completely shocked. And that's where he made his famous comment, Gandhi unknown before the film.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that this personality cult refurbishment of it, the PC cult 2.0, that's going to be a huge, huge problem.
Sainath, it's a very interesting point that you're raising, that Mrs. Gandhi was taught a lesson in 1977. She could come back, and she actually did retool herself in the way that she never imposed the emergency again. She said, yes, I made a mistake, and yes, I seek your vote on the basis that I'm not going to do that again. There is no such sentiment that we see here. And what you are seeing is that what I've been saying for some time, that Mr. Modi and BJP have no reverse gear. They can only go in the way they are going. They don't have the ability to reflect, partly because of what earlier still existed in the BJP. There was space for other leaders. Now there is virtually no space for other leaders, except, of course, Mr. Modi, and Mr. Shah could be considered an alter ego of Mr. Modi. But there is really no alternate figure that you could see earlier in the BJP itself. You had Vajpayee, you had Advani, and Murli Manohar Joshi, and other leaders as well. This part of it has completely gone away. So given that he can only go in one direction, how to seek back a mandate that he has lost?
Well,
something which is going to be rather difficult.
A couple of things in this, Prabir. One is, not only there is no space for leaders, it's also which kind of leaders. Now you have no space for Rajnath Singh. Rajnath Singh is the old style UP politician. Yeah. He runs into opposition leaders anywhere. He's respectful. He goes up to them. But you do have space for leaders like Himanta Biswa in Assam.
Like?
Himanta in Assam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who is out-Modiing Modi. Yeah. But by the way, there's one very interesting result from Assam, which I hope everybody takes note of. That he's calling them, one religion voted this way. They met Christians in the Northeast. In Assam, he said only one region, one religion is a problem. Whatever, things like this. Badruddin Ajmal, in a constituency massively, overwhelmingly populated by Muslims, Badruddin Ajmal who depends on his Muslim identity, was defeated by the biggest margin in Lok Sabha history, 12.12 lakhs. I believe that is the largest margin ever. Now, overwhelmingly, Muslims in that constituency voted against him. They voted for the Congress party consciously. So it also tells us something about that the minority vote was in no way a communal vote. It was a survival vote. It was a vote of confidence in the constitution, in the republic, in the secular fabric of the politics. Because if any, it's just impossible that Ajmal, who won that constituency by 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs, there are bloody 26 lakh voters. Yeah, and you lose by 12 lakhs, a constituency that you have won in the past by 4 lakhs. It seems to me that every single member of that minority went out there with the aim of defeating. Yeah. So now Himanta, that kind of leader, which is also the kind of leader that Himanta is trying to take on the Adityanath model of a thing. But Adityanath himself is now sort of, I don't know what to say, pacified or, asked to sit down by the public. Yeah. So I think that what happens now is, well, they do believe, okay, another point about what you made, RSS, I want to tell you one thing. Never believe this nonsense of RSS not being with the BJP, please. I have seen this in every election. Every election. I know these guys for years, decades. I interact with them on Nagpur, on Vidarbha, on all these things. I'm saying, I've noticed that in every election, they hedge their bets. They hedge their bets. And if they think it's dicey, they will put out stories of displeasure with the regime. Like they did even with Vajpayee, that they're not happy. If the guy then wins, they will say in the last 2 rounds, we put everything into it. It's a heads I win, tails you lose thing. The RSS has always, this has always been the USP of the RSS, the number of voices it's able to speak. It's from that the BJP inherited that ability that on one phase of the elections, you're for evicting Muslims back to who are all, they're all infiltrators. In another thing, you're saying something totally different. You're focusing on a totally different point. That ability to speak in multiple voices. Many people said that after the second phase, Modi realized things were going bad and started back on the communal card. I'm saying he was always on that card. And that is the nature. It's just that the knowledge of having done badly in the first 2 phases made you go further explicitly down.
Made him more strident.
Made him more strident. So I don't believe this thing about the RSS one bit, but I think this time they were also having to protect their own people who have been sidelined within the political party. See, the
Sainath, Sainath, I have to come back to one question, which is what our discussion really should have started with, the farmers. That the farmer struggle, of course, huge impact. The government finally had to concede, though the cases continued, various other things continued. But the farmers, whether in UP or in Maharashtra, and these are the 2 states which have significantly dented the BJP in this election. I think these are the 2 really major states that have led to what you can see is a loss of 61 seats in total for the BJP. So do you see the farmers coming back into political center space after this?
The first thing I want to say is that the farmers' vote, influence on the vote, was way beyond UP and Maharashtra. Remember that with the Shiromani Akali Dal, there were 6 MPs of the NDA from Punjab. Yeah. And there isn't a BJP deposit left in the Punjab. Yeah. We found in reporting on Punjab elections, village after village, farmers prevented the BJP candidate from entering. We published a story on it, and you can see they had 11 specific questions. I won't go into all of them, there's no time. But why did you stop us? They were saying, at Delhi, you stopped us with water cannon, tear gas, rubber bullets, and lathis. We are stopping you with questions. Answer the questions, you'll be our guest. They did this in village after village. And Captain Amarinder's wife, who has been a 4-time MP, complained. She told the Times of India in an interview, I'm not being allowed to enter the villages. How will I campaign? Okay. So please note that Punjab and Chandigarh, 14 seats, 0. That's one. Second, even more interesting, to me, is the impact of the farmers in Rajasthan. There it was a double whammy. Sikar Churu Junjunu has 2 things. It has the heart of the farmers' leadership there in Amraram. Second, historically, as a belt of recruitment for the Indian Army, it goes back to East India Company and early 19th century. There are 6 generations of families which give. So your Agniveer and Agnipath, that Agniveer scheme, as I thought, I said when it came up first, I told them that when in a debate with, it became a debate with Mr. Bommai in Mysore when he was CM. I said, this is not a recruitment scheme, it's a retirement scheme. And the second thing about it, you'll lose the Veer and you'll be consumed by the Agni. That's what that belt, the Shekhawati belt, is a stronghold of farmer, and it also shows, because remember, the Indian Jawan is a Kisan in uniform.
Absolutely.
It went on both ways.
That's true for Punjab, UP, Bihar, everywhere, particularly Punjab
and
as well.
In Uttarakhand, where they won 5, please note that, in that parts of you, not in Uttarakhand, but in one side of UP, where remember that Ajay Mishra Theni is defeated.
Yes.
Uttarakhand, I frankly have not been able to understand what local politics decided it. But I can tell you that the discontent amongst the recruitment catchment is very high. Then the farmers, Prabir, when the 2021 elections in states took place and the DMK coalition swept Tamil Nadu, only one pollster who got the numbers right asked the question of the people of Tamil Nadu, not just farming community, APT agency, which got the seats right to a seat. It was the only pollster that had the question, what is your attitude towards the farmers' agitation in Delhi? Do you think 82% of Tamil Nadu said total solidarity. Okay, so that was something already very striking then, very striking. And Rajasthan farmers, please remember, they had their own camp at Shahjahanpur, from where 3,000 farmers from Maharashtra went and camped also from here, especially 2,000 from Nashik, who went there all the way in trucks and co. Yeah, and so I'm saying the farmers' impact was far greater than just the onion crisis. I don't agree with that. I'm saying that, yeah, will it grow? I think already it's also had another kind of impact without the issues. Look, I think that the Kisan Andolan taught this country to remember the meaning of the word resistance. Yeah, 53 weeks. The worst winter in 4 decades, the worst summer in 2 decades, pouring rain, 726 farmers dying in those camps of whatever ailments. They did not give in. And that you can, and see, as a result of this, they've been gone about much more gingerly with the labor codes. They've been much more pussyfooting on those things. I think it was because of the farmers' agitation. These guys taught us what it means, what resistance means. So the farmers' impact is far greater. Now, and incidentally, the farmers were also aware that the laws which they repealed, so to speak, are being reintroduced through the back door. Now, Praveen, Bayer, which is now the gigantic gargantuan monster, which also includes Monsanto. Monsanto is one part of Bayer. The evil Monsanto is just one part of Bayer. And Bayer, which is paying out billions of dollars in fines and things and compensations, Bayer and Amazon, the Indian Council of Agricultural Research last year signed not agreements, they signed partnership agreements. Yeah, these guys have access to all your data. They and many other corporates are entering your Krishi Vigyan Kendras, where they will be able to more effectively market their products. And I think this process of corporate reinduction through the back door, I think this is seen by farmers, at least by the most forward and progressive thinking elements amongst them. They see it. So I think that yes, it will lead. I think that whether it leads or not, without predicting, I'm going to say that we desperately need them to keep it up.
Again, a question for later time, that the Green Revolution was really based on agrarian sciences and agrarian technology, which is what you are talking about, really, the agricultural research institute, also agricultural universities. All of this was the backbone of what became the Green Revolution. The Gene Revolution is actually seeing a takeover of those institutions by multinational corporations. So the spirit of these two are very, very different. And that's really the political realignment that has taken place now. But getting out of that, last few words from you. How do you see the next 3 months, 1 year, 2 years? I'm not going for the long term at the moment. Particularly with respect to democratic rights and the voices of the people being heard again.
First thing, I think there's going to be a churning in many political parties, beginning with appointments to the ministerial council, and I think there's going to be a churning there. The first major milestone we are going to run into, Maharashtra elections. We're 4 months away, maximum. Yeah, we're maybe 100 days away from it, or whatever. Yeah, something like that. Because by early October, if they declare, then what's it? There's June, July, August, September. Yeah, maybe full 4 months to go for the Maharashtra elections. Preparations have already begun, with all the parties trying to see what they learned and what they gained and what they can extract from the assembly, from the Lok Sabha, to fight in the assembly. So I think that this is going to, in the next few months, you're going to see this. And I think that they're going to have to drop some important faces in the cabinet to accommodate, who knows who will be finance minister. who did not contest the election. So I think that and each of these actions is going to lead to a further churning. I think there may be one or two great declarations on Agniveer or something like that. But the problem for him is that they can never, unlike in Indira Gandhi, they can never say, sorry, we messed up. They will have to show that they're doing it better. They'll have to show that kind of a thing. So I think that, and the corporatization of agriculture is not slowing down. They're not slowing down. One thing I think that, whatever benefits or gains the Green Revolution had, I think by the 80s, you were looking at the tail end of it. And I can tell you that Swaminathan himself was aware of it. He went around Vidarbha with me, visit. He was in tears in the second household. That had run out of steam. And ultimately, we have not sorted the problem of land reform. We have not sorted a number of critical issues I think that we should also get ideas about different kinds of collectives in these farming. In the gene thing, I think it's frightening where Bayer, Monsanto, all of them are together. I really, really think, and there's a huge lack of understanding, even in progressive forces, of what are the implications of that might and strength. Yeah. If you just did a thing on how many bureaucrats in this country have their children studying abroad, like on one stream of bureaucrats, their children are interns or externs or whatever at the World Bank and IMF. Another stream are into, the giant corporations which are doing these things, including media corporations. So that is going to be a huge fight. I think the propaganda war, we're going to get a sense of which way it's going. And I sincerely believe that one of the first things we have to do is to move for serious legislation to break monopoly and do it on the correct ground of ensuring diversity in the media. We just have to do this.
Well, the monopoly issue, of course, is a very big one, not only for the media, for ultimately the entire economy, because the media is not isolated from that. And of course, you have the technology angle to it, that you are now getting different kinds of media into it, what is being called the social media, but it's ultimately YouTube and Facebook, and they're also in multinational hands. So we have to see how all of those issues are taken up. But for today, our main discussion was, how do we look at the elections we have just passed, and what does the future hold for all of us? Thank you, Sainath, for being with us, spending your time, and giving us certain further issues on which we can discuss further. This is all the time we have for our viewers today. Thank you very much for being with us, and also continue to watch NewsClick.